Welcome to Beat the Odds Week 1 betting recap. Michael Merlo, Beau Dragon here with you. Beau, an incredible Week 1. We are going to talk about the Sunday Night Football game, how we did with our picks, some bad beats, whether it was us or other people we know from Week 1. I can't wait to get into it. Beau, what did you think of that Sunday Night Football game? Not how are you? What did you think of that Sunday Night Football game?
I mean, what a way to end the week, Mike. It was amazing. I think everybody in the country was tuned in and was honestly waiting for that game the entire week just because, dude, Bills Ravens, we get that rematch again. And I will say, lived up to the hype and exceeded the hype for sure. It was everybody saying it was close to that Rams Chiefs game back in, what was that, 2017, 2018? Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, what a thriller. It was 40-25 Ravens with under 4 minutes to go. The Ravens blew it once again. Bills win to a field goal that was almost blocked, by the way. So that was already insane. But yeah, I mean, that was a crazy game. I loved it.
It was unbelievable. And, we deserve that. I feel like we deserve that kind of game. It wasn't the greatest slate of games, especially during that 1 o'clock window, but they loaded us up with an unbelievable Sunday Night Football game, and we got an instant classic. And when you're able to watch two quarterbacks like that, just duel it out. I mean, Baltimore could do whatever they wanted to do on offense. They did everything. Lamar was running. They were throwing the ball down the field to Zay Flowers. Derrick Henry could not be stopped. And that might be a concern here for that Bills defense. But either way, when you have these quarterbacks doing whatever they want, it's just going to take one little mistake. And that one mistake was the Derrick Henry fumble.
Yeah, he lost the game for them for sure. And I still think he had the best game out of anyone besides maybe Josh Allen. So any non-quarterback, he probably had the best game, 123 rushing yards in the first half. But that fumble literally cost them the game. And we know 2 weeks ago now, I took him as my offensive player of the year. Last year, I mean, he had one of the best running back seasons I've ever seen, but then Saquon had a better one. So it was just a slim margin that he wasn't the offensive player of the year last year. But
yeah,
man, I mean, he really screwed the game. I think maybe a couple of the takeaways, like the Bills receiving core is not as bad as we thought it was. Maybe just Josh Allen elevates everybody else, but Keon Coleman had some great catches, some contested catches, strong catches. Khalil Shakir too, and then Josh Palmer, the vet. He's a pretty good receiver still. So they have a lot of depth. They have those two tight ends, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. And then James Cook was used as a receiver last night too. I think he had like a 51-yard catch.
Yes, it is interesting how I think they really trust Keon Coleman now. That 2-point conversion, and I hated the play call, but they're going right to him on a shot to the corner of the end zone there, or to the sideline. They go, and I hate the play call. I hate it. There are so many different things they could have done with the game, basically on the line, down 2, but they trust him, and they went to him a lot last night. I completely agree with you. Josh Allen elevates that entire wide receiver room, and what he's able to do for that team with the running game, both with Cook and both with Allen. What that also does for that passing game is incredible as well. The Bills get the win. John Harbaugh has the most double-digit blown leads since any coach since 1991.
Oh, my God. Does he really?
Double-digit blown leads. Yes. He is the leader in the clubhouse. I think it's 12 or 17.
Oh, my God. Really?
I'm going to check. It was on Twitter. I'm going to check.
Yeah. So I mean, John Harbaugh, we've seen with this Ravens team that they're notorious for blowing fourth quarter leads and choking games, specifically in the postseason too. But that's bad. You can't lose a game like that to open your season. And sticking with the Ravens side, I just think Zay Flowers, he had 143 yards and a touchdown. I think 7 receptions. I don't think he's going to have that game every single week. I love Lamar as a passer now. I know that was a concern when he got into the league, kind of like Justin Fields. But Zay Flowers is not
still a concern, by the way.
It was what?
It's still a concern for Justin Fields, by the way.
Yeah, it is. We'll talk about that. But the Bills' defensive back group was really banged up. They didn't have Tre'Davious White, who's the number one corner, so he would have been on Zay Flowers. But even then, they have no depth. If anybody gets hurt, even for a play, they don't really have anybody to sub in for them. So the Ravens took advantage of that. That was in their game plan. They knew Tre'Davious White wasn't going to play going into this week. And again, talking about gambling and everything, I wouldn't put Lamar for an anytime touchdown anymore. Maybe a couple of years ago, that was like a lock. But he had 4 rushing touchdowns last season. Yeah, he'll still get a lot of yards. He had 70 last night. Our Sunday night parlay, by the way, 1 for 4.
Yeah.
1 for 4.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen, I was very high on the under for 229.5.
By the way, looked good for a little bit. Looked good until the fourth quarter when they kept getting the ball back.
Yes. I think he had like 118 at half, if I remember. And then there were 2 or 3 plays before the half that really screwed him, like 2 long plays. And then I think it was the start of the second half when James Cook had that 51-yard reception. I was like, dude, that sucks. But it was still looking good. And then he finished with 394. So
yeah, went over it a little bit.
Yeah,
well, we'll get back in the lab. We're gonna hit a couple of these this year. We're gonna get back in the lab. Let's move on here though to a couple of our picks. We'll read through how we did. I went 10. I went 2-1. I hit my 3-point pick and my 2-point pick this week. And Beau, staying alive, hit his 3-point pick, but it missed the 1 and 2.
Yeah, I hit my 3-point, which is the Raiders plus 2.5, which I got a lot of hate for, but hey, I was right, and I knew I was going to be right.
That's how confident I was. That was a good pick. That was.
I will say your Browns pick, awesome pick too. I like that a lot. Falcons screwed me. That was my 1-point pick, plus 1.5. They should have won that game. They had the better stats. They should have scored at the end too, or at least tied the game.
Yeah.
They didn't. Blocked field goal. And then the Lions were my 2-point pick, and I was high on the Lions. I still am. I don't think they'll make it to the Super Bowl as I had them predicting it, or me predicting it.
You're out on them already on the Super Bowl. After 1 week, you're out on them already.
Already out on them. I don't like these guys anymore. Get them out.
Wow.
Wow. Now,
quick trigger there.
Quick trigger. But that's this Lions team. That's Jared Goff and this Lions team. It's like, for him, if the season is good, it's going to be really good. If it's going to be bad, you're going to lose by 2 touchdowns to the Packers in week 1, in division rival, who you're competing in the division for. And they're already out on the Super Bowl in my mind.
Wow. Listen, I didn't think – I got to say, almost one of my overreactions last night was almost the Lions are missing the playoffs. Like, that's how out I was on that performance last week. Now, I'm not going to go that crazy yet. Maybe they start out 0-2. I'm blanking on who they play next week. I think it's actually Chicago. But – yeah, that was a really disappointing performance from the Lions, and I didn't think they'd win the game. I actually had and bet the Packers yesterday, but I thought they'd be close. I thought they'd keep the game somewhat close and not get blown out. They lost by 2 touchdowns, but that game was really 27-6. I mean, that's how dominant of a performance it was for Green Bay offensively and defensively. So Detroit gets blown out. And then, yeah, you look at the Browns there. Browns had a chance to win the game multiple times, 2 missed field goals, an extra point, and then they have the ball ready. Gamblers know this feeling. They have the ball at their own 5. Okay. They're down 1, and there's like 15 seconds left. They have no timeout. So what's about to happen. They're about to start throwing the ball all over the field, backwards, laterals, whatever. So I'm sitting there saying, for the love of God, no funny business. Just go down. And Jerry Jeudy makes a catch, and he actually just goes down. He just goes right down, and that was it. And they lost the game by 1. They were in the game. It was exactly how I said it would go. The Bengals start off slow every single year. It's what they do.
Yeah, it is. You were absolutely right on with that. You hit the hammer right on. What was it? 17-16 was the final score. So they easily covered at 5.5. Yeah.
And it went down to 4.5, and I bet it at 4.5 actually. So it was even sketchier. Yeah.
So that's crazy because the money was going on the Browns then if the line went down a little bit. The spread went down. So that's interesting. I feel like I didn't get to see the money where the money was before the game, but maybe people were like agreeing with you, or maybe you influenced everybody because you were just so smart, Mike.
Yes, I moved the line.
You moved the line.
My influence moved the line 100%.
Yeah.
How did our spinning wheel parlay? I think 2 for 4. Gibbs didn't get in. Penix went over, but Kyron didn't get the yards. And then Myers easily went over. That was a good pick, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
That easily went over.
Kyron, you had him at 70 plus. He got 66.
66.
That's tough. Gibbs never got in the end zone.
No.
One thing real quick for those bettors out there. Montgomery got 11 touches. Gibbs got 9. But Gibbs got 10 receptions. His over-under was 2.5. So what we saw 2 years ago maybe with Gibbs, in the start of last season, Gibbs was more of a receiving back. David Montgomery was the main power back, third down, red zone, whatever. We're seeing more of that. At least we saw it this past week. So that's important to keep in mind when you're betting these teams. Gibbs, obviously David Montgomery was out for a long time last year, so Gibbs took over everything. But it looks like he's going back. So that's tough for me because I took him with my first pick in fantasy. Tough.
Like the first pick or the third or fourth pick?
It was either the third or fourth. It wasn't the first pick.
Okay.
I took him over Bijan and I took him over Saquon.
Yeah, that's a problem. I don't know how you take him over Bijan. How did you take him over Bijan?
I mean, maybe I am now, but Gibbs was like one of the best players last year. So
he was, but Bijan went 6 for 100 receiving yesterday with a touchdown, with a tutty, big tutty.
That's crazy.
You're not scared of that. You're not worried about that.
No, I mean, I'm not going to say he's the offensive player of the year because of that. I think he'll be one of the top 5 easily running backs, but I love Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe because David Montgomery was out and I don't know. He didn't have much trouble with anything else. He didn't have any competition. But now Montgomery's back. I mean, hey, Gibbs' 10 receptions is still really nice. But the Lions couldn't run the ball at all yesterday. They had 46 total rushing yards. So what are you going to do?
They couldn't do much. And another team that could do a lot yesterday was the Jets and the Steelers. Both of those teams were able to move the football. And how about that nice backdoor little there, 2.5 cover for the Jets by a 0.5 point. But the Jets were very impressive yesterday offensively because their ability to run the football was incredible. And then that opened up the passing game for Justin Fields, even getting Justin Fields moving a little bit. And Fields was really good. Breece Hall was really good. The defense wasn't great, but that offense, that was one of the best offensive performances from the Jets in a very, very long time, up there with some of the best in 5-10 years. An exciting game. A game that should have been won. But at the end of the day, the Jet fan, you want to win that game, but I think you come away sort of positive, like, okay, this isn't going to be this disgusting, horrible year. Maybe we're going to be able to score points and be somewhat exciting, even if we don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen again, to be honest. I don't think that's the Jets team. Obviously, no team has a real identity yet. Defenses are ahead of offenses too, I will say right now. But the Jets defense looked really bad yesterday. Rodgers threw for 4 touchdowns. Justin Fields, though, to I think many people's surprise, looked pretty good. He was looking down the field. He kept his eyes down the field even when he was on the move. He kept plays alive last game. He threw in between defenders. He threw some darts in between defenders too. So when I was watching that game, I was impressed with Justin Fields. That's how I expected the Jets' run game to be. But the Steelers' defense is pretty good. At least they're supposed to be pretty good. So
that's what was shocking to me. That's what was absolutely shocking to me.
Yeah, and I had the Jets covering that spread. I didn't have them winning, but I had them covering that spread that game. I knew it was going to be close. I think I even said this on our podcast last week, that I don't think a single touchdown would be scored. And boy, was I wrong. I mean, they completely.
This was the most bet under game of the week. It was the lowest total, and the Steelers almost went over themselves.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was incredible. And Boswell nails a 60-yarder, man, to win the game. It was so Jets too. That's the other thing, is that you could change everything about the organization, right? You could have a big overhaul with players. You could completely change the coaching staff in the front office. And yet it is so Jets that they're able to find a way to lose that game. They had the fumble with Gibson and then the 60-yard field goal banged home by Boswell, who's one of the best in the league. And they're able to win that football game. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. I was rooting very hard for the Jets yesterday, even as a Giants fan. I was rooting very hard for the Jets. But Rodgers was great. Rodgers used a lot of those receivers. Calvin Austin had a big game, and they were able to sneak out of there with a win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I dislike Aaron Rodgers because I think I respect him as one of the best quarterbacks I ever watched.
I respect him. I can't stand him though.
Yeah, I think most people can't. Maybe that's why I can stand him because I like going against that. I don't know, but let's talk about Daniel Jones and the Colts.
You want to talk about that? You want to
I
talk about that?
I really want to.
I want to talk about that.
I want to feel all the pain all at once. That's my thing.
Okay.
7 drives, 7 scores. I mean, are we serious? He scored on every single drive of the game. First quarterback since what did they say? 91 or something like that.
Was it Peyton or Elway? I think it was Elway.
Oh, okay. So I think it was Elway.
Right there.
When they were honoring Jim Irsay too. So what a performance. I mean, that was terrible. And what a bad performance by the Dolphins. Oh my God. Tua's over under. I have it here. 246.5. He got 114 in a game when they were losing. So even when they're supposed to throw the ball, he couldn't throw the ball. And then Zach Wilson came in. When you have Zach Wilson coming in week 1, you know it's bad.
This is gonna be one of the worst seasons in a very long time for this Miami Dolphins team.
Do you think so?
This is gonna get really ugly. This is gonna get to a point where everybody is fired. Tyreek Hill's possibly traded midseason. You're stuck with Tua being paid $40-something million a year, and he's always injured and he cannot play. You have Jalen Waddle still on this team. You traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yeah, this is going to end really poorly. This is not going to end well. McDaniel's fired at least by week 10, probably earlier.
I was going to say week 10, but I was going to say earlier too, because I think the general consensus is like 11 to 13. He'll probably get fired. But, oh my God, dude, if it's this bad the whole season, he'll be gone by week 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, and the whole Tyreek Hill thing, like, I think that's all fantasy. Does he want to be back with the Chiefs? I don't know.
I don't know if he wants to be back with Kansas City, but I think he's got to get out of there. I think somebody's going to trade for him. I'm shocked that he wasn't moved this past offseason. When you're disrespecting the coaching staff, you're disrespecting your teammates the way he did, especially at the end there. I was just shocked he wasn't moved during the in the offseason last year.
He's still really good too.
He can still play. I don't know if he's still like an elite number 1 guy, but he could. I mean, if he went to Kansas City right now, it would be, that it would elevate their offense to a level I don't think they could get to without him.
Right. Yeah.
It would be a massive addition. It would probably make them co-favorites with Buffalo. I think Buffalo should be the favorite right now, along with Baltimore to win the AFC, but I think they would move into a tie, essentially. Why can't Lamar and the Ravens use him? Imagine that. Could you imagine that?
No, dude. I said to my friends last night, I was like, how did we let the Ravens get Derrick Henry and the Eagles get Saquon Barkley? 2 of the best O-lines and 2 of the best teams.
You make a good point, and I forgot to mention this before when you brought it up. And Chris Collinsworth said the same thing last night, that it was overlooked. The year that Henry had was actually overlooked because of how good Saquon was. And obviously they went on to win the Super Bowl, and he won the Offensive Player of the Year, was better than Henry. But that season from Henry is still one of the 5 best seasons from a running back in the last 10 years. And it was the 2nd best season in his own year that he did it in, which is shocking.
Yeah, it was like 1,900 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns. Insane. And he's just a powerhouse.
And he's over 30, by the way. I think he 30, 31. It's the most yards ever by
250 pounds. Like, that's insane. I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense.
But it's sustainable too. Like, he can play like that for a couple more years.
I'd like to be that size and be able to run like that.
Yeah, you'd like to be my size, you said? Because I'm about 249.
No, absolutely not.
About 249, maybe 6'3".
Yeah.
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 Yeah, well, I want to be able to move like Derrick Henry. I don't think you can move like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I can move faster than Derrick Henry. You're right.
Right, of course. Very quickly before we move on to the Monday night game, very impressed with Purdy yesterday. I know he had a couple of bad picks, but that late drive to get them down the field and then end up scoring the touchdown, I thought he was really good. And again, without his weapons, I mentioned this last night on the recap, without a lot of his weapons, it's just impressive because when you pay a quarterback a certain amount of money, you cannot pay the rest of the roster. You can't pay for elite offensive linemen and elite running backs and elite wide receivers all over the place. Now they had McCaffrey back, but Kittle went down, and you only have Pearsall and Jennings yesterday as your receivers. He made plays. He got them down the field. They win the football game. I was impressed with Purdy.
Yeah, I like Purdy. He's a great game manager. He knows that he's not the guy who's going to change the game. He just has to be there to help. He can't do anything wrong. If Purdy throws interceptions or fumbles, we know that game's over. But he was able to keep the Niners in the game, and then he won it. CMC, it's kind of just like feed CMC again, Yep. He's healthy. We think. We don't really know. That calf is still an issue. Going into the game, it was an issue, but he got like 32 overall touches, I think, which is pretty insane. So he's kind of back to himself, I guess, if you'd like to say that. And then going back to the contract stuff real quick, we forgot to mention this last week, but the Giants and Joe Shane restructured Andrew Thomas's contract. I can't talk. And they saved $12 million in cap space. So that was really good for the Giants, but it shows you how much they need Andrew Thomas this past week. Russ was getting pressured on, I think, like 50% of the dropbacks. It was insane. It was terrible for Russ. I'm not going to say start Jackson Dart just yet, even though I think that's the better quarterback. But the next couple games are going against very tough secondaries, Chiefs, Chargers, Cowboys. Not in that order, but those secondaries are all really tough. So maybe you start in week 5.
I've completely given up hope. I don't on the Giants. I don't care.
Yeah,
I actually don't care.
Every year.
It's the same crap. They can't block and they don't tackle well. It's the same embarrassing crap every single year. And I am so done. I'm so done. You know what? If Dart comes in and plays and he looks great, fine. I'll start to give a crap when that comes around. But right now, I don't care. And I'm the biggest dayball defender of all time. And I think Shane has actually brought in some high-level talent here. But at the end of the day, he can't draft offensive linemen. He doesn't sign offensive linemen because they're not good. So your biggest issues are never fixed. For the last 15 years now, you haven't had an offensive line. I don't understand it. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. And I am just completely out on this franchise. Done. Until there is some serious change and you actually can tell that they are moving in the right direction, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to watch the Bills. And I don't care if you want to call me a loser, a non-diehard. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. It's not fun. It's not fun. Because, seriously, you watch that Bills-Ravens game. That's a different sport than what the Giants are playing. It's a different sport. Giants don't play that sport. I was like, what is that? Why do you have that right next to you?
You okay? It's like a necessary desk accessory. Violin.
That's great.
It's had it for a while, too. It's pretty awesome. But, Mike, you're spot on. Can't block. Can't tackle. And it's been that way every year. They didn't sign a single offensive lineman. Yeah, they drafted Marcus Beau. But Evan Neal's still on the team. That tells you how bad their depth situation is. And there were people on the market that they could have gotten and they didn't. So what are they doing over there? Do they think the O-line is good? Because it's terrible, especially without Andrew Thomas. It's terrible. I agree.
It's awful. Monday Night Football. This is going to be a fun one. I'm so excited for this game. The Minnesota Vikings. Let's just make sure it's flipped twice. We're just going to make sure that it has.
It was 1.5. Again. The Vikings are giving 1.5.
Right. Yes. So it has flipped multiple times, and it is still the Vikings minus the 1.5. The Bears are getting points at home. This is a divisional underdog. Divisional underdog.
Here we go.
I'm going against it. I like the Vikings tonight. I am starting to really believe in the Minnesota Vikings. I think this is I believe in Kevin O'Connell, and I believe O'Connell is going to put J.J. McCarthy in the right positions to succeed, and he is going to do that. I like the defense. I like the offensive line. They'll run the hell out of the football. And again, it's Caleb Williams' first real game with Ben Johnson. It's a complex offensive system. It could take a couple of weeks for Caleb Williams and the Bears to really get going offensively. I think the Bears are going to be good this year, but I think the Vikings are going to be better. I'm all in on the Vikings. I like them minus the 1.5. I go 26-23. Vikings win.
Wow, okay. See, I love to take the Vikings with you because I do think Kevin O'Connell, one of the best coaches in the game. That defense is also still one of the best defenses in the game. J.J. McCarthy is just put in a position to win. So he just has to do his job. He doesn't have to do anything more than that, like we saw from Josh Allen last night or even Lamar Jackson. As long as he does his job, they will win this game. I am very confident about that. To the Bills side, TJ Edwards is doubtful, and Jalen Johnson, the cornerback, is questionable. So we'll see if he's starting today. Doesn't look like TJ Edwards will. So those are two huge losses on defense.
Yep.
I like both of these teams' running backs. I love Aaron Jones. I actually have him at 20-plus receiving yards for tonight.
Okay.
He's hit that in like 9 games last year. And to settle in J.J. McCarthy, who I think is going to be pretty good. I don't think he's going to be amazing. But to settle him in his first game, you need the running back. That's also a lot of dump-offs to the running back, which they already had last year when he had over 1,000 rushing yards. So it's rushing yards and receiving yards for Aaron Jones. Chicago also ranks 32nd in receiving yards allowed per pass play to running backs. Little stat there. Maybe
I love that. I love that.
Maybe take him for 25. I'm saying it's plus 150 right there.
I love that.
Right? And then
I won't get greedy. I'll take the 20 plus.
Okay. That's plus 104 too. That's plus money you're getting that at.
Look at that.
To the Bears side, DeAndre Swift. I really like DeAndre Swift. I think he's maybe past his prime, but if he's put in a situation that he'd still be good in, like this Bears offense, I think he can still do a lot. And I think that his over-under tonight on rushing and receiving yards, so total yards, is 71.5. I'd hammer that over. I love that over. It's not boom or bust for him, but it's big game or like doesn't really have an impact.
Yeah.
And boom for him is maybe 90 to 100 yards. So his over-under being 71.5 total yards, maybe he gets 40, 50 on the ground, and then he gets that 20 or 25 in the air. That's easily 70-something yards. So
look at you.
I like that.
Locked in.
I'm locked in, baby. I'm not messing around.
I can't wait for this Monday Night Football game. It's going to be a great one. So much unknown, so much uncertainty, especially with these quarterbacks and these offenses. And we're going to be locked into it. Beau, pumped up for this game. Great week 1. We will talk to you later in the week for our week 2 Beat the Odds episode. We'll give all our picks, go through Punter Profit. Please send your best bets. We're going to play the 2-minute drill, all of that good stuff. We back out on Thursday. Cannot wait. Beau, talk to you later.
See ya.